Freedom's victory over Gale Force Esports gives us a little bit more information as to where these teams measure up against each other, but that can change just about every single week, can it, J-Howe?
It can, and I expect it to, the way NA is shaping up with our top 4 or 5 teams. Simplicity to me, I mean, they played twice this weekend, but they still got a couple of big dogs to play. That is my team to watch every week, but more so after this week. And then, of course, you know, we still got another couple teams coming up.
That we do. We're going to have LFM and Team 12. Team 12 for the first time. Let us take a look at the standings before we get into that series. LFM did lose one match earlier this weekend. That was to Space Station Gaming. Space Station and Simplicity tied, but Simplicity has the head-to-head in their advantage versus Space Station. And as we talk about the standings, it's important to note, top 3 teams by the end of Part 1. After 5 weeks of play where every team has played against each other, those are the teams that represent North America at the first Western Clash. Yeah,
it's a really big deal for some of these players. We've heard, you know, the likes of Simplicity saying they want to get back to the international stage. We've heard Psalm on Tempo Storm. He basically came out and said that we're just looking to psych people out at the international stage. Said nothing about the league and getting there. They expect to be there. And who can blame them with a roster like that? The same thing can be said for Team 12. There's a lot of top-tier competition moving forward in North America this year. So when we do get to the international stage, those 3 teams, they're going to have a lot of pressure on their shoulders to perform. But it seems like we are definitely making strides towards fulfilling some of those expectations.
And talking about pressure to perform, LFM has to go up against the #1 team from North America at the end of last year. Let's see what they think about their opponents.
People are going to make a comparison between us and even Death, since we both got in the same way. But I'm quite confident in our abilities, just because we already practicing against pro teams the past year, and we've been doing quite well in our games against them. So personally, I'm really confident.
With Justin and Buds, they've obviously been known in the scene for a while, but they've recently started to rise in fame for a bit. Picking up Kieran Dansky, I think, is a really good move, and I think it should solidify them in a top 3 spot.
So we most look forward to playing against really whoever the fan base thinks we have the worst shot against, because I just would love to prove people wrong.
So playing at GCWC with the new roster it was really good at first. Like we were doing pretty good, and then I think we were all just getting drained because we had BlizzCon and GCWC. But overall, I think it was like a really positive thing, even though we kind of didn't do so good. I think it'll motivate us more, and it's just getting more games with the team, especially like LAN experience and international experience. So I think overall it's like a really positive thing.
With Justin leading the pack for our team, I think it's definitely something I have to get used to. Like, I come from Team Freedom where, like, say, Kira and I, we usually are the ones who are talking the most and telling people where to go. But for Roll20, that's Justin. Like, he does the drafting and the macro, but right now we're not exactly sure how we're gonna be doing it. Like, there's a lot of things we need to work on in scrims as far as like synergy and comms, but it's definitely different and something that we're gonna have to get used to.
I mean, I hope that they do well, LFM, but I think part of the issue that EID had and that LFM may have is there's definitely, I think, a mental block in terms of EID because of, you know, hearing everything from the community about how they didn't deserve to get in, and actually losing the Crucible, but getting in through a different team disbanding. I think that can definitely have a negative impact in terms of like players' confidence or feeling like they don't belong in the league. So I think if they're able to like sort out those confidence issues and just come in and say, hey, we're here now, we may as well make the best of it, I think they can definitely learn a lot from, you know, where EID struggled and start taking wins off teams. And if they take it seriously, I think they could be a force.
Yesterday we talked about the all-star status of Tempo Storm, and while the players of Team 12 may not have the accolades of, say, a player like Fan or Glaurung, still, every single member of this team can be counted as either the top or in the top in their role. And that is what is so exciting about Team 12.
Everything about this screams the next generation of heroes. Everything that we've seen from Tempo Storm, they've been around a while. People say simplicity. They're wondering if they've still got it. But this is a team that's still on the rise. They have players that are still improving, and they're already at or near the top. And that's the biggest and scariest thing about this team is what is their ceiling? Can they reach their potential? Having the core of Justin, Buds, and Goku, the same way I talked about Team Freedom, this is an even better core in what they've got. It's a phenomenal team that we have put together. I'm really looking forward to seeing just how far they can push the lemons.
I am as well, and even the difference between them. We talked to Psalm, or we heard from Psalm in the interview that he and Glaurung are some of the loudest players. Obviously, in that interview, you can hear a more subdued Team 12. These are players who let their play speak for themselves, and it speaks volumes. So let's get into it. Jayha, you talked about how important this match is. Even though we expect a Team 12 victory, it is the manner of the victory that you're looking out for.
Yeah, you know, rarely am I ever going to say this, but if you're Team 12, anything other than a 3-0 I think might be a letdown unless something just catastrophic happens in your game. Obviously, we're going to be on Tomb of the Spider Queen, a map that they're known of dominating. But for Team 12, I honestly believe that their expectations, they've got a team coming in fresh from Open Division, and they've been at the top of North America at all the international events on the biggest stages. And for them, the expectations from everybody, whether it's on social media or whether it's within themselves or the league alone, I think screams that they have to come out and make a statement and 3-0 this team. There's no other way that they can look at it. If they want to prove that they're the top, that's the way to do it.
And now LFM, they did play earlier this weekend. They played versus Space Station, and they were playing with the subs, so we didn't get to see the Aware, who you had highlighted as a central point to this team. So now we're going to be able to see the Aware and what this team can do as a fully fledged roster, because as Kier alluded to, there is a lot to prove for LFM. They got in the same way that Even in Death did, and it was Team 12 themselves when they were talking about Even in Death. They would win scrims, but then not do so well, and that mental hurdle is a lot to overcome in the actual competition matches. But I'm excited to see what the Aware can bring.
Yeah, and Kier said it best. It could be the mental block. This team is talented. I mean, they're not here by accident. They garner a lot of respect from their fellow pros. And like I said, the Aware being one of those top players, he would receive respect bans all the way through the Open Division, even from Heroes Hearth in the playoffs, things like that. They have talent, and they are up against possibly the toughest team that they have. Taking a game or two would help them get through that mental block, but they don't need to feel defeated even if they lose here to such a strong team. So those will be things that we'll need to look out for LFM going forward.
Yeah, we saw earlier in the day Leftovers versus Fnatic, and Trixler said even to win a game here for Leftovers would be a big victory for them. Unfortunately, the Leftovers weren't able to do that, but let's see what LFM can bring to Team 12. Hanzo ban Team 12, considering the Genji.
You know, one of the devs worked on Hanzo. He's like, Genji, Hanzo ban? What's Shimada with you? That's his joke. I giggled a little. I'm going this way. I'm out. I'm done.
Get off this desk. That's pretty good.
It is.
It's pretty good.
I couldn't claim it as my own, and I'm like, I better just deliver it this way.
Yeah.
But what's Shimada with you?
I wasn't expecting it to be a joke. I thought you were about to go into like this great point
Banning Genji and
delivered
Hanzo?
about,
What's Shimada with you?
You know, and then it's just that. Well, you know what that joke did do is help buy some time while Team 12 still considered if they want to take this Genji ban. Good job. And yes. And there you go. First pick for LFM. Is it Lucio for the Aware?
You know that feeling when you're on camera and you do something really awkward?
Oh,
and
yes.
Your face gets real hot and red, but you realize you're wearing makeup so it doesn't show as much?
Let's make sure that people can see it.
Oh, no!
You can't say something like that here.
I know, like these guys back behind there, just like they're getting a good laugh out of it.
They're getting the giggles, that's for sure.
LFM not prioritizing ETC, instead prioritizing one of the top damage dealers in Greymane. Do you think that's a mistake to let ETC over to the likes of Justin? Despite, I got to pull my numbers up here, it was not near one of his most played last year.
For ETC and Justin?
Yeah.
No, but when he played him well. Think about Western Clash. He got a couple of 5-man moshes, At the
Never-
first Western Clash? Oof.
I don't remember that. Never
You-
happened.
yeah.
He's
It
going to
was-
have to refresh my memory. Create
Okay.
some new memories, my friend. We'll see. ETC Lucio have been let through here. We've kind of seen them go into that 1-2 pick, depending on the team. We have yet to see Team 12. This is our first glimpse of what they are bringing to the table. They're spending a lot of time thinking about what they want to do.
What I do want to go back to, though, is that gray main, because it has been a really highly prioritized pick. And it does feel like teams are... There's just so many different ways to counter. Johanna's one of them. She has blinds as a way of countering gray main. We've seen a lot of Arthas as a counter to gray main. And because of that, this high prioritization of gray main, that's one of the reasons why he's struggling win rate wise, even though he is one of the highest picked heroes in all of North American HGC so far.
You know, if you condemn Grenade
Oh no.
and Globe of Annihilation, it's pretty quick clear. And Tomb of the Spider Queen. I would have never said
I
this.
thought it was going to be another
I would have never
pun.
said this had it not been for last night.
Yeah,
I mean, Tomb of the Spider Queen is the map.
it was the map.
I doubt we'll see it. Yeah, I'm just kind of throwing some crazy stuff out there. Johanna pick in the very first rotation does say to me that they've got either something they want to try or something they want to hide, or they're just bringing a whole new flavor. Team 12, this is a unique start to the draft, to say the least.
It is unique. I think we can't take off the table that they expect such a victory here, that they should show nothing to their opponents. But we'll see.
Stukov always a good counter towards Johanna, who generally has that safety net of, look, I can walk in unlike any other hero because I can use my trait, and walk out because I'm unstoppable, plus I get the shield. Stukov helps deny that with the lurking arm. Good counter towards Johanna. Decent hero all around. So solid pickup here before the second ban phase. No Lucio showing up, so we'll see if Team 12 picks that up or whether LFM bans it out. But with the way Team 12's draft started, I don't really know what to expect from them right now.
Yeah, and that makes banning pretty difficult for LFM, though the support role might be something to consider. Also solos. Team 12, though, for solos could look at this too. Granted that LFM has gotten that very stable combo of the main warrior, your support, and then a good range damage dealer. A lot of times that's where people are going, is that melee flex, the solo laner, whatever's just going to add to that. And here, Tyrael makes a lot of sense because of that gray main pickup, though they're going to switch it at the last second. We'll see if they switch it back. 3 seconds. Malthael.
No Angel this time. I like the Malthael ban a lot. Takes care of the solo laner, plus somebody that can wreak havoc, percentage-based damage as you go in with the Tormented Souls. The dive potential for Greymane to finish off one of those targets, and Muradin, of course, always disrupting a lot in there. So I think that's a good ban. I mean, we still have seen a lot of Leoric, things like that.
Yeah, I was going to
The
ask you,
secondary.
you think that means Goku's Leoric? That's just a lot of wave clear to start off, getting Johanna and Leo.
Yeah, I mean, Goku, for me, I'm serious, is rapidly approaching Wubby status in Europe. He has done so well on that role for so long that he's starting to, he's picking up tricks that almost nobody else is doing.
Yeah.
Right? He's learning. He adapted to some of the things that he's seen from his counterpart across the seas, and he has just done so phenomenally well that it's often he's the unspoken part. He does his role, he does it well, and then he does it so well, that's when it's just like, my goodness, this guy is really what keeps this team moving forward, thriving in those instances. So whatever he plays, I'm fine with it. I have 100% confidence. There's certain people you're like, their hero pool on that melee, I'm not sure. But with Goku, I'm cool with whatever he wants to do.
You know, one of the pleasures of being a commentator at those events like BlizzCon is that you get to interview and talk to all the teams before we go on to get the best storylines. And I remember when we interviewed Roll20, now Team 12, talking to Goku, he inspired and impressed a lot of the commentators when he talked about how just how much drive he has to get to the likes of Wubby status, of Rich status. So he studies those players and learns not only how to play like them, but also finds ways to defeat them. So I know Team 12 wants to get back to that international stage again so that Goku gets his opportunity. Leoric is the Goku pick, and then we've got a Chromie too.
Yeah, Chromie pairs really well. Johanna getting that condemned. Chromie drops the bomb on it. Good wave clear. You also have Tychus there. I mean, those waves are going to drop fast, and we've always seen on this battleground, you go slowing sands, it thwarts a lot of the pressure. And speaking of pressure, we've got some fire coming in the likes of Kael'thas and Ragnaros here.
LFM Esports looking to turn up the heat versus Team 12 in the first game of their series.
That is, if we're looking at potentially long games on Tomb of the Spider Queen, you would include the likes of Ragnaros Kael'thas, and on the other side with Chromie with Slowing Sands. Post level 10, I don't know where we'll see how far this game goes given the skill level that we expect, but this could be a longer Tomb of the Spider Queen game unless Team 12 can really pressure them early.
Let's see what this last pick is to do that. We're down to the Buds support, kind of reminding me, reminiscent of Simplicity leaving their support to the end. Let's keep an eye on if Team 12 emulates that style of drafting, or if it just happens to be as this draft has fallen through. But a Muradin with a Kael'thas follow-up. A Rhaegar! We haven't had too many Rhaegars. He's been showing his wolf-ish face in Europe a bit more, but it is a Buds classic hero to be sure.
Wolf-ish, not just full wolf, but wolf-ish.
It's orc, but wolf, so it's...
I mean, he was a robot in most of the other ones, because everybody's been playing the mecha skin. Here we've got a throwback to the Winter Veil event, but I'm just trying to figure out where we can see Team 12 maybe force the issue. Sometimes it's hard to do that when you've got a Johanna Chromie. If Chromie's landing skill shots, you're going to put damage out. Tychus is kind of be that X factor, and like, can he set up and finish as well, and can Chromie follow up? There's some back and forth synergy on, you can get that burst damage with the minigun, Chromie drops bomb, or conversely you can kind of chase a little bit once Chromie drops a bomb, and it's up to that part of the composition to execute. Rhaegar can kind of get in there, but it really feels like this isn't an aggressive composition. I think it's a safe but an incredibly effective composition for Tomb.
Yeah, a lot of wave clear for Team 12. Kind of feels like a war of attrition style composition that Team 12 has. Just very safe. We're going to control the lanes. We'll start taking structures out. Like King Caffeine said yesterday, only fight when you have to, otherwise just take some structures down. But LFM, it's on them. The charge is there. Can they get the Muradin Kael'thas combos to get some picks early on and start snowball? Let's head into game 1 between LFM Esports, newcomers to HGC, and Team 12.
Team 12 with the all-star cast on the back line now, Gilly. Cure and Dansky. Cure's going to be on the Tychus. Dansky will be dropping bombs with Chromie. Buds on Rhaegar. Justin, of course, on Johanna. And my favorite player from here, Goku on Leoric.
And LFM Esports, welcome to HGC. We've got the Aware playing Stukov. Swabs, we're playing the Ragnaros. Dreaded will be on the gray main. Figgy is the Muradin, and finally T playing Kael'thas.
Figgy, FZ Ignition. That's still his Twitter handle. So if you're looking for him, he's under FZ Ignition, his old handle.
I have a confession to make. I have been waiting to cast this player for a long time because I wanted to make a remix to Ignition, Joe. And I was so angry that he changed his name.
I mean, you can only have so many letters in your name, Gilly.
I know,
Especially when you add LFM to the front of it. I'd say, look, if you're telling me I get to add 3 letters at the beginning of my name because it means that I represent my organization in a professional Heroes of the Storm League, I'm shortening my name every day.
I guess Figgy is the actual remix to Ignition, considering the fact that he had to change it. And I guess there's some pretty good jokes to be made with Figgy, but I'm still a little salty.
Figgy. This is where the wave clear is tremendous for both teams. Dreaded goes in, tries to finish off Cure, unable to do so, and they trade blows there. So both of the main carry rolls between Tychus and Greymane, trading shots, neither able to confirm.
The charge comes down to Goku with Swabs and Dreaded, hoping to do damage to him. Goku will stay as long as he can before Wraith walking out, using that health bar to his full advantage. Team 12 gets an early camp, prioritizing getting their bruisers from the start, using that wave clear, and keeping Justing there. Take out the minions as LFM keeps the rotations going standard from the top to the mid.
I think a lot, Gilly, that we'll see early is the priority on camps, but we're also going to see so much wave clear that the rotations, it's going to disrupt a lot of potential team fighting, or it's going to open them up in the sense that you're clearing so fast that the only other thing to do at that point is to fight a bit. but the prioritization on camps is going to be a key factor here, as we see the Knights picked up on Team 12, the Giants picked up here, the neutral Giants picked up for LFM.
Those bruisers are going to allow for a sooner turn-in by Team 12 as Buds drops 10 gems off. But in having Greymane sit down in the bottom to help out Ragnaros, they've been able to do a lot of damage against Goku, keeping him at bay, keeping that hero from being able to do as much as Goku would like in the lane, even getting a tower. And that allows LFM to get the faster level 4.
Was wondering, after we've seen a little bit of a change up on the level 1s, we will see the bigger they are to deal with that really high health pool of Murden. Definitely get some good burst damage in as this game goes on, so I like that pick over in the rhythm, which we saw earlier. But there's the effective wave clear, Gilly. I mean, they just walk right up, throw a couple of abilities out, 1 per, and then they just walk to the next lane. Yeah,
that is giving Team 12 not only the setup that they had in the mid, but allowing them to rotate constantly through that top turn-in point, which is why you're seeing 40 gems of the 50 required for the first turn-in so early turned in. Is just the control that Team 12 gets by that top mid. And LFM just trying to respond wherever they can elsewhere. That's why you saw that advantage that they had in the bottom lane. Also helped Ragnaros get some stacks up, but he's still 15 away from finishing his level 1 quest.
With the rotations being so quick, it actually makes it difficult to get those turn-ins. Johanna is one of the best goaltenders that we have because of the blind, just like that, shining the flashlight, as well as having the her iron skin. And then, of course, if Kira goes quarterback at level 7 for Tychus, I mean, you've got the ultimate range, the ultimate interrupt.
Yeah.
And you're not focusing on clearing the lane, you can focus on defending.
And you have vision being provided by Dansky. He's been dropping that as fast as he can on that point just to keep track, not only to help himself stack up, but to make sure that they're keeping LFM honest in the turn-ins. And if Team 12 believes that they can win in a straight-up fight because of the skill, because of the experience, then getting the first turn-in so that they can start to snowball these turn-ins and make LFM have a lot of gems being held on their bodies. At one point, if they just win a fight decisively, reduce LFM's gems dramatically, then they can just continue the win on from there.
Goku attempting to get a turn in, I think unable to do so. Justin and team trying to get a little bit of action. And we see these teams. Kel'Thas has the single best power spike at level 13 with the cooldown reduction, the double flame strike at 16, make him a really strong late game hero. The cleanse forced to be used onto Goku as a really good lurking arm was put down, but that drew the attention away, Gilly, and allowed Team 12 to get the first turn in.
Yeah, that it did, and it keeps Justin lower on the gem count too, as they're going to do their best to push these waves up so the Web Weavers land exactly at the towers. Looks like top is going to be somewhat of a focus as Justin and the rest loop around, but every lane being pushed up to the towers as far as they can. And this is the point where Team 12, they play their cards right, they can get a big experience advantage. Molten Core is going to be used in the mid. That is, in general, what you see from a Ragnaros on Tomb of the Spider Queen for the first Web Weaver phase, as you can drop that damage down in multiple lanes.
Yeah, very good use there, and it's keeping a lot at bay. Even the top lane here, see the damage being put out by T and Aware, getting that, only losing 1 tower. Ragnaros holding middle. That's a pretty good defense right away for LFM.
Really good. Excellent defense. The priority in bottom lane means that this Web Weaver isn't pushed as far as Team 12 would like, though they're going to assist it and try to get a tower somewhere else. But just looking at the experience bar and knowing that 50 gems were used by Team 12, whereas not for LFM, and that it's dead even in experience is a very good sign for LFM.
I'll say this, I fully expected slowing sands, Gilly. We've got a temporal loop, and Stukov doesn't have a cleanse. Hopefully he can get a burst heal out. That's going to be up to Dansky to see when he uses that bio kill switch to get the burst heal, and then can he get the temporal loop during that window. When we look at prime targets, Stukov is one, Kel'Thas is one, Greymane kinda, Ragnaros kinda, Goku getting picked off here up at the top. But target-wise, it'll be up to Dansky to really capitalize off of Stukov's bio kill switch.
Using that as a great setup too for Justin and for a potential Entomb. If we see that, here comes the temporal loop, and Murden will be first blood. Not first blood, there was another kill. The first kill for Team 12 as they're using Entomb to get another one. T goes down. Team 12 get 2 kills, sieging alongside the Odin.
That's really gonna neutralize this Web Weaver push on the side of LFM. That was really well done. We actually see 7 minutes in, Mana Addict was already picked up, was used, and just not enough to survive in the middle of that. So really well done here by Team 12 to thwart that assault. So both teams just kind of hitting soft reset button. Still got a handful of gems on both sides. We'll see who can get the next turn in and try and open this game up.
Both need the 55. Looks like Team 12 did lose some or weren't able to pick some up, whereas LFM are right about there. I'm impressed by LFM. Their defense of the first web weaver phase for Team 12, that could have been a big snowball point for Team 12 if they had been able to push harder, but LFM responding appropriately with the Ragnaros, the wave clear, using the Stukov to not allow Team 12 to get much done with that. And they're going to go back down to that bottom lane focus, getting the Giants again.
They're getting it. They've controlled it so far, but it hasn't amounted to much. They do have one tower down here in the bottom lane. The other one sitting at about 20% health. We'll see if they can push this in. Inch out a little bit more. Chromie dropping bombs in return, sitting at 28 stacks on her queue thus far. Still just about halfway to getting those 60 stacks for that clone.
Now that LFM have their heroic abilities, look for that Storm Bolt, the follow-up Gravity Lapse, the Silence underneath, and then the Sulfurous Smash, go for the throw if necessary, all just to take someone down. They have the Flailing Swipe to either disengage after that or to isolate enough so that they can get that pick. There is a Relentless Soldier, which will be able to help along with that for the Tychus if he is the target.
He didn't go that. There's the Blessed Shield trying to get the setup to condemn. The bomb being dropped by Chromie. Flailing Swipe in return as well as the Phoenix.
Temporal went out, Draded was able to dodge back in though. Goku uses his Entomb, lots of members inside there, giving a place for Cure to attack, but off to the side. Stukov goes down, Ragnaros 2, Dansky takes out 2 with his Chromie.
That, all that was set up by the Ancestral that allowed Leo to go back in, keeping 2 members locked in, and Dansky capitalized, dropping a major bomb onto LFM, getting those 2 kills, and rewarding themselves with another Web Weaver.
Yeah, the separation of Team 12's damage dealers to have Cure up for the top and Dansky away from that too. Cure was being handled by having the Kael'thas there. He picked him up in the Odin with the Gravity Lapse, but that meant that Dansky could just wreak havoc dropping bombs inside of the Entomb. Looking at what we have for Dansky's quest, he's sitting at 31 of the necessary 60 heroes to finish off that Sandblast and get the Echo for the double. Another Web Weaver phase as Team 12 have their 13.
Oh, dropping it again. I mean, who needs to hit your Q when your W kills them? Chromie right now just dropping bombs on everybody. Molten Core trying to clear up. Phoenix is going down. Again, they're standing in that, eating some of that damage, so it prioritizes heroes and not the minions while they continue the assault on that front line. Justin doing a good job zoning out, but this should be a fort falling here in the top lane.
Team 12 gets tankier and tankier from LFM trying to get some sort of lockdown kill. The Muradin, the Kael'thas, and the Sulfurous Smash. LFM not really being able to get very much from that other than the one Leoric kill is starting to fall behind. Now that you've got the Neo Steel Coating and the Relentless Soldier, you've got a Cleanse from Rhaegar to help bail out from that. Johanna has her own Cleanse. Leoric has his Wraithwalk and time out for Chromie. Because you're getting a fairly survivable heroes, even the little Chromie.
Goku, nice little juke there on the Gravity Lapse. He's like, I'm unstoppable. You're not going to catch me. Here's the time trap for you, Figgy. We're just going to walk away. We're Team 12. Throwing up the peace signs as they walk away. See y'all later.
They have 2 forts of the 3 of LFM's down with a 2-level lead. The safe comp working as intended for Team 12. Just slowly amassing a better and better lead. Checking in. See if that's the case. And Justin's going to get slowed down from that. Figgy trying to make sure that he can stick sideways in Tomb just to make sure if someone else is following Figgy, the rest of the team, Justin can get out.
So far, so good. I mean, they've used their opportunities. They've obtained 4 kills. They got the double, of course, before that last Web Weaver phase. And, you know, they've just done really well to maximize since then. The first one didn't go so well, but since then, they've amassed a 2-level lead. Of course, they still have Johanna, who's under assault in the bottom part of our screen there. But so long as Johanna can defend and keep people from turning in, Leoric as well, they might be able to get 16, force LFM back, get another turn in as they're just 16 gems away, and then this game can really spiral out of control. So that's Team 12's game plan. Let's see if they can execute as they've got a Blessed Shield going down.
Oh, they're actually going to do Blessed Shield and attack just before trying to get the jump onto LFM. Goku deep in the back lines, doing what he can, reducing the damage now that he has the Ominous Wraith, while the rest of the team start to follow up. 16 still not here for Team 12, but neither are the gems being grabbed by LFM, so they still don't have what is necessary to get their second turn in. And finally, with the 16, Team 12 forces LFM back.
My favorite part about this Chromie build is when you're going into that bomb dropping style, you go Temporal Loop, Quantum Overdrive at level 14 for Chromie, getting that bonus spell power 20%
Ouch.
to really maximize that. They've done really well to set everything up. So it's playing directly into their strategy is getting the condemns, getting everything that they can out of the setup. And when you get that Temporal Loop, somebody's going to be hurt, and we're going to see if LFM can survive it.
Still a little ways out from having the Web Weavers to push with the 16 advantage. No movement up toward the boss, though. Instead, just making sure there's not going to be a turn-in for LFM while they get the rest of the gems. To get that Web Weaver, the safety of Team 12 is paramount, it seems, for this team in the series, at least in Game 1.
Goku's sitting on 24. They're exactly 35 gems away, so they're going to rotate to the top. Biggie going to sniff him out, should be able to get that hammer out. Momentary stun. I don't think it's going to be enough to keep them away. Cure with that minigun just rips through that Burden health pool right away.
Dansky goes for the final turn-in for the Web Weavers, and the rest of the team starts working on the minion waves to get them pushed up. Get a lot out of this. LFM starting to get close to 16. Won't have it at the start of this defense, but they do have a Molten Core, and that's going to help slow things down.
Yeah, Molten Core and Kel'Thas alone, 16 would definitely help having that double flame strike, but Molten Core should allow them. Oh my, Cure. Hello?
It turns out you can have Relentless Soldier and Neo Steel Coating and still just die really fast when everything comes out at once.
But I'm a little bit confused at why he was so far up, maybe just feeling a little bit too confident, a little bit too comfortable against LFM, because he was there alone. Okay, maybe there was a lag spike or something along the way.
Yeah, some sort of issue there. We'll get that resolved ASAP. Hello, we are back. So far, maybe not as just completely dominant from Team 12 as we would expect, but what it does do is they're just playing very safely versus LFM, not doing anything that maybe would give away strategies, picking things that are just, we've known are objectively strong on this battleground.
Yeah, you know, their old school strategy when they had Glaurung revolved a lot around the Diablo, Medivh, Wombo combo. When Garrosh still had the pull, it revolved around that. There was a lot of things that they did well that were super aggressive, super map-centric. Now they're playing the map. They're just playing it in a different manner, and it is a little bit safer. We're going to figure out what happened there. Obviously, I think maybe there was something along the lines on why Cure was that far up, because that is very uncharacteristic. Cure being, you know, at the top of the leaderboard, dorm champion, everything about this guy has just been upward trending. And now he's back on a more comfortable role. He switched over to melee last phase. He's been on a role he's much more known for. That's uncharacteristic. I'm hoping something went wrong there. If not, I'm sure he'll even laugh at himself on, I don't know what I was doing. You
know, it is really cool to see Cure back on this role, especially considering what the meta has been adjusting to. And for one hero in particular, he hasn't been doing so well in North America, but I have faith, and that hero is Zeratul. Goku plays Zeratul, and he wrecks with him too, but what we have seen a lot of is having either the double warrior or the warrior melee assassin, and then having the Zeratul played by that flexible, ranged into melee type style of player. And Cure, in his dorm time, was wrecking people so hard with Zeratul that he was forcing a ton of bans because of it.
Yeah, and it's one of the things, I remember talking to Cure right around Gold Club, before or after. It's been a busy few months. But I was asking him about the roles between him and Dansky and what that's like, because they're both so flexible that it really allows them to excel. They're able to play multiple compositions around multiple heroes, and whether it's a Genji, whether it's a Chromie, whether it's a Tychus, they're very comfortable switching between those. But as you said, his comfortability goes beyond that, in the sense that whether it's Goku, whether it's trying to get on that melee, he can easily flex over to that. And that's a big, strong point for Team 12. Yeah, the synergy of duos can't be understated for Team 12. Having Dansky and Cure have all that time together over the past 6 months, go to the same team, having Justin and Buds, who have been friends since middle school. They've played
in real sports, and then in esports, or P-sports, I think is what we should call them, together, and then coming over to esports and playing together too. And then you've got Goku. Goku, we have talked about him. He is exactly where he belongs at the top of NA, working really hard to be the best in his role, not only within the region, but internationally. We're gonna have another fight now that Tychus is back. Goku gets caught in the gravity lapse of Flame Strike, doing a lot of damage. He tries to Wraith Walk through, does hit a lot of people, and he's buying some time for his team, but will go down.
Goes down there, and that's a big opportunity for LFM. Just missing there. Figgy going in the backside. Justin taking a lot of damage, and Swab's trying to follow up. We see the temporal loop, not able to get the takedown on the Aware. All the while, Goku is on that backside. He is getting close to reviving in that quick. I mean, talk about trait value. He's getting it right now.
Yeah, he's trying to keep the slows there and force LFM to continue in the fight until he gets back. Justin doing the same. Eventually Murden brought down. Sulfura Smash does not connect. Now Swab's in danger too. Justin chasing him down. He's going to be pulled in with the Condemn. Already gets hit by the Sandblast. Drops out a Meteor. That's a goodbye Meteor. A second kill. Aware barely makes it out of the Entomb before he would be caught. But even still, 2 kills gives Team 12 control back into this game.
It did, and Goku sacrificed himself in the early part. They weren't able to get the kill, and somehow in the middle of that, it's almost like they kind of lost track of the fact that he was coming back. You get the slows on your Q when you're in that Wraith form, when you're dead. And then you can also shorten that with your Drain Life in the middle of that, and he got back really quickly. The minute he came back, Killy, things turned really bad for LFM.
Yeah, it was a cool, risky play that Team 12 did where they were just baiting. And the location that they were at was, there was some retreat there. But LFM knew that if they could catch someone else, they might be able to start these staggered deaths. Team 12 just playing a little bit with that, with LFM wanting to get more kills, knowing that they're still behind, knowing that they need to get something else to catch up besides a solo Leoric kill. And they were able to be rewarded from that. Now they're going to have the Blessed Shield. Figgy, Dwarf tossing out, still being chased down from the rest. There's going to be the time trap that catches them.
Grenade there, trying to put him in place. There's the temporal loop. It's going to be used onto him. He's going to live for now, but he is taking so much damage. Oh, just missing that Entomb. That could have been a nail in the coffin there.
Man, I swear that Stukov, when played by the Aware, has to have the Tunneling Claws ability of Dahaka, because that is twice he has narrowly been on the other side of the Entomb. But with no Murden here and 20 achieved by Team 12, they're stepping in confidently to take out a keep.
Yeah, and right now, Swabs, I'm actually surprised that Justin wasn't maybe positioned a little bit further, try and get the interrupt on there while the rest of the team confirm the kill, but I don't think they're done. Chromie can easily drop bombs, but I think engaging under that, I don't know if they're willing to risk it, but they're not leaving.
It was so cool the minute that Sulfurous or Molten Core finished. Justin hit Iron Skin, Goku hit Wraith Walk, and the rest had already backed out of range of that swing. So if the swing did not get what LFM were hoping would be the start of maybe some turnaround fights, the turnaround kills, especially with Murden coming back. That keep about at half health, and LFM still no 20 in sight.
Yeah, despite not having slowing sands, Chromie's range is so significant. You can just kind of sit back here, drop bombs on the enemy team. This is the wave clear part that from the beginning till now, they're able to just instantly clear, create a space for them, and drop this. It's different because the amount of health now on this, so it's going to take a little bit longer than we would have seen last year. And last night we saw Tempo, they went with the damage reduction on the W. This time we see the damage amplification, making it go down a little bit quicker.
Dragon's Eyes, some water balloons. Team 12, the slow siege on that keep. As Goku and Justin have been working on the wave clear of the bottom lane. The siege goes on. They bring in the Odin to start sieging down in the bottom two. Team 12 are leaving LFM structureless if they'll have their way.
This is the 20-tier advantage. You've got a little over 19. LFM is getting the experience as it comes to them, but they're going to probably lose 2 keeps in the process just because of the range of Chromie alone. The Odin is going to be there. Big red button going down. Does confirm the kill on the bottom keep. They'll likely turn their attention. It's just LFM without 20. It is dangerous to engage here.
And this whole time, The minions walking right into the waiting arms of Team 12, who have just been waiting to amass enough to get web weavers to potentially close out this game, which could have maybe been done too with that blessed shield, but the Entomb is really good too. Figgy in danger again. Perfect cleanse from Buds to stop Cure from being hit by the Sulfurous Smash, and the Ancestral afterward to heal back up Justing. Well done, Buds.
Yeah, Bud's making the plays for his team. Looks like Goku's actually going to fall, getting in a bit too deep there. That is exactly what LFM needed, because Gilly, that gets them 20, and it should allow them to at least try and get the turn in.
Yeah, that was the gems. Goku had the gems for the rest of them to be able to get the turn in. LFM have a ton of gems, more than, or just about double what they need. So if they can just hold on to this point until Leoric comes back, they can turn those in and start the turnaround of this game.
The grenade not hitting there, getting zoned out. Very well done to keep Cure at bay, but Swabs takes a lot of damage from Chromie. Flailing Swipe. They just need to buy time, wait for the web weavers, but they are being assaulted. They are buried alive, as that is 2 members down on LFM. Chromie dropping the bombs. Goku just locking them down. This is twice now we've seen Goku fall, only to come back in the middle of a team fight, only to result in deaths on the side of LFM. And more so than that, Gilly, it's game.
Bud's showing why one of his favorite heroes for a long time has been Rhaegar, making all the plays, the cleanse, the ancestral, and the butt bite into the earth grass totem, all done in a way to make the plays for the team. Team 12 gets onto the core of LFM without web weavers, just working to bring that down with only Stukov and Kael'thas left to defend this. They'll try their hardest, but it is for naught.
Kael'thas is incredibly strong in that, but there's a temporal loop. Mana Addict was used for that shield, but as you said, it's all for naught. Just a matter of time here. Kael'thas goes down, as does the core. Team 12 coming out with a 1-game lead. Start off as expected. A little slow with these compositions, but result nonetheless what we expect.
Lots of creative and awesome entombs from Goku that game. Off to the side, great synergy and usage of the Leoric trait value. Yeah. Something that we've been talking about a lot, be it Leoric or Tyrael this weekend, but he did use it really well. Oh, yeah. Especially that fight bottom when they kept them all in the range. He came back very quickly. Justin tried to make sure that he could keep them there too. They were baiting a little bit, and then the turnaround, that's what led them to the slow siege of those keeps.
Justine's over like, oh no, please don't attack me.
I'm a helpless Johanna.
I can't. Just kidding. So, yeah, it worked out really well. And at LFM, I think they just got outclassed a little bit, but they definitely held their own, I think, a little bit with their composition. It allowed for them to play towards the late game. That's something that Ragnaros can do on maps. If you feel that you're going to be outclassed, sometimes you want to wait till you get to the late game, maybe take a late game team fight. Getting that one pick in the late game can oftentimes turn the tides. By going Kael'thas and Ragnaros really allowed them to kind of stay in the game a little bit longer than I think maybe if it was a different style setup. Yeah. So it was a good call draft-wise for them, kind of get their feet wet against one of the top teams here. So I like the draft. I like the way that they played it. Just Team 12 came out definitely strong.
Well, with that one win, Team 12, soon we'll know where the next one is going to be, but Team 12 looking good. Let's talk more about their roster and the changes that took place for Team 12 between the end of last year and GCWC actually is where they first debuted this roster. Glaurung and Prismaticism no longer with this group, but they did pick up Cure and Dansky, that very stellar backline, and the immediate duo synergy that they gained from that from Team Freedom.
Yeah, with all due respect to Glaurung, who is a fantastic player, I think by swapping these two out and getting Cure and Dansky, I think it gives Team 12 a little bit more flexibility to do things that they might get them over that hump. They were a top 8 team going into BlizzCon, but they have higher aspirations. And I think by getting this, and heard in Dansky's pregame interview that he talked, they still have some things to work out. But I think that with that team on the backside, with that core components, this team, again, like I said before, has a higher ceiling. And I think that this is one of the rosters where sometimes you're like, all right, look, it's kind of like a parallel change that looks like a downgrade. We're not sure, there's question marks. This is one where it's an obvious upgrade, in my opinion. I think this team, the sky's the limit. And right now, I think draft-wise, it shows their flexibility, and I think they've got a lot more they can do.
Let's see what they're